You know those things you would never imagine seeing inside someone? Well, the X-ray has the power to reveal the unbelievable, from bizarre curiosities to discoveries that leave anyone slack-jawed, showing a world that's usually hidden from our eyes. And that's exactly what you're going to see here today. So drop your like, click the subscribe button below, and let's go! This case drew a lot of attention because it shows a danger many people don't even imagine when traveling by car: putting your feet up on the dashboard. A news story went viral after showing the X-ray of a young woman who suffered a serious accident while she was in that position. On impact, the airbag deployed at almost 200 kilometers per hour, and instead of protecting her, ended up shoving her legs with full force against her body, causing an extreme injury. The X-ray images showed how severe it was. The young woman had a complete hip dislocation, with the thigh bone pushed out of its normal position. Orthopedic doctors who analyzed the case explained that this kind of accident causes fractures and dislocations that can leave lifelong after effects, even with surgery and intensive physical therapy. What's most shocking is that although many people do this for comfort during long trips, there isn't a law that forbids riding with your feet on the dashboard. However, the highway police have already warned that this practice is extremely dangerous and should never be done. The comparison used by specialists is direct. Having your feet on the dashboard during an accident is like sitting on a barrel of dynamite. When the airbag explodes, all the energy comes against your body, turning something that should save lives into an even greater risk. This viral case ended up serving as a warning. A simple attitude that seems harmless can turn into a mistake capable of completely changing someone's life in seconds. This case sounds like a movie script, but it really happened. A man from Massachusetts named Ron San spent weeks coughing and feeling unwell until he discovered the reason was something completely unbelievable. A pea plant was growing inside his lung. Ron said that during exams, doctors found what looked like a tumor. Only later came the surprising revelation. It wasn't cancer, but rather a pea that had sprouted. According to specialists, he probably inhaled the seed, and instead of going to the stomach, it ended up in the lung, where it found conditions to start germinating. Although it's an extremely rare case, it makes sense from a medical point of view. The moist and protected environment inside the body allowed germination to begin. Fortunately, doctors managed to remove the sprout before it caused even greater damage to Ron's health. With great humor, he even joked that if he had left it, he could end up working for the Jolly Green Giant, the famous canned vegetable mascot in the United States. In the end, what seemed like a nightmare turned into huge relief for him, since at first there had been the fear it was something serious like cancer. This episode ended up drawing attention worldwide and served as an example of how the human body can surprise even doctors. After all, no one expects to leave an appointment with the news that a plant is growing inside them. Albert Fish went down in history not only for the brutal crimes he committed, but also for some strange and disturbing habits. When he was arrested, investigators noticed he couldn't sit properly and, when questioned, he admitted he had the habit of sticking needles into his pelvic area. At first, no one believed him, until doctors decided to take an X-ray. The result left everyone in shock. Inside Fish's body, there were no fewer than 27 needles embedded, some stuck in his bladder and others scattered through his pelvis. The image was so striking that it became one of the most curious records tied to his capture. This macabre detail ended up showing how much Fish had bizarre practices that went far beyond the crimes he committed against others. The X-ray became one of the strangest proofs of his disturbing life, revealing that his cruelty wasn't limited to his victims. He also subjected himself to an absurd level of pain. This case is one of those that seem to show there really is a God. Andrew Lynn, a man from Las Vegas, had a car accident that almost ended in tragedy. He lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a metal fence. The impact was so strong that an iron fence bar about 5 centimeters thick pierced through the windshield and impaled his face, entering just below the nose and exiting through the back of the neck. When he arrived at the hospital, the scene was surreal. Andrew was conscious, talking, and even trying to communicate, even with the bar going through his head. The x-ray taken by the doctors revealed something impressive. The bar passed within millimeters of vital structures. If it had shifted just 2 centimeters in any direction, it could have sliced the carotid artery, pierced the brain, or destroyed the spinal cord, which would have meant instant death. First responders had to cut the bar to transport him, leaving pieces of iron sticking out both in front and behind his head, forcing Andrew to remain seated throughout the rescue and even during surgery. The medical team who treated him counted on the experience of a famous surgeon, the same one who years earlier had saved illusionist Roy Horn after he was attacked by a tiger. In an unbelievable turn, Andrew survived without serious sequelae. Doctors explained that by sheer luck, the bar didn't tear blood vessels or vital organs, it simply pushed tissues aside. He was considered a true medical miracle, the unluckiest and luckiest man at the same time. This episode became known as one of the most impressive survival stories ever recorded, showing how in some cases just a few centimeters can separate life from death. A boy just 3 years old swallowed an object that could have been a coin or a button battery. On the x-ray, doctors noticed signs that clearly indicated the battery. These signs are important because when a battery gets stuck in the esophagus, it can release caustic substances and cause severe burns quickly. Therefore, doctors had to act fast, performing an emergency endoscopy to remove the battery. The truth is that button batteries are dangerous for children. Small and easy to swallow, they're found in toys, remotes, and other everyday objects, and it's essential to keep them out of kids' reach. Have you ever imagined what it would be like to look inside a car without opening a door or lifting the hood? That's exactly what the X-ray scanning system does. This type of technology is used for vehicle inspection at ports, airports, and checkpoints, helping detect hidden items such as narcotics or weapons without needing to dismantle the car. The operation's pretty interesting. The system emits X-rays that pass through the vehicle and are captured by detectors on the other side, creating a detailed image of the interior. Denser materials such as metals appear lighter, while lighter objects like plastics or clothing look darker. Some modern systems use dual energy X-rays, allowing differentiation between organic, inorganic, and metallic materials, almost like a color radiograph of the car. Besides showing the engine structure, internal compartments, and luggage, the X-ray also reveals suspicious alterations or hidden compartments that could go unnoticed in a visual inspection. All this happens quickly and safely without damaging the vehicle or posing significant risk to nearby people. In short, automotive X-ray systems are a powerful security tool, combining technological precision and efficiency to ensure vehicles and cargo are inspected thoroughly and reliably. Can you imagine undergoing surgery and discovering almost 2 years later that something was left inside you? That's exactly what happened to Pat Skinner, 69 years old, at St. George Hospital in Sydney. After having part of her colon removed, she began to feel intense, persistent abdominal pain, but was repeatedly told it was just normal recovery. Only after insisting on having an x-ray did Pat discover something shocking. A surgical scissors 17 centimeters long had been left inside her. The sharp tip of the scissors was resting against the coccyx, causing extreme pain and putting her health at serious risk. Within a few hours, she had to undergo another surgery to remove the instrument, this time performed by her specialist, because tissues had grown around the scissors, making removal more complex. Even after removal, the hospital was slow to admit any responsibility and placed on Pat the burden of proving significant physical damages to be entitled to compensation. The X-ray, in this case, was the key to finally revealing the error and saving the patient from even more serious consequences. This story serves as a warning about the importance of strict oversight and continuous medical attention after surgeries. An unprecedented case in medicine happened to a 64-year-old Australian woman. Doctors found a live worm inside her brain. For months, she had abdominal pain, cough, night sweats, forgetfulness, and signs of depression without the cause being identified. She was admitted in Canberra, where tests revealed an unusual lesion in the right frontal lobe. In June of 2022, during a biopsy, neurosurgeon Hari Priyabandi noticed something strange when touching the affected area, and upon probing with forceps, removed a worm 8 centimeters long, still alive, wriggling outside the brain. The medical team was shocked by the discovery, described as totally unexpected. Specialists believe the parasite, common in carpet pythons, non-venomous snakes in Australia, reached the woman's brain after she collected native plants near a lake, possibly contaminated by snake feces containing the worm's eggs. This case is considered the first record of larvae of this species developing in the human brain. The patient is recovering well after surgery, and the case was published in a famous science journal, leaving everyone quite frightened. An extremely rare medical case drew attention on the internet after an emergency physician shared an impressive X-ray. It shows a calcified fetus inside a woman's body, known as lithopedion or stone baby. The image, posted by Dr. Sam Ghali, went viral quickly, generating hundreds of thousands of views and countless comments of surprise and fascination. The lithopedion is an extremely rare complication of ectopic pregnancy. In this phenomenon, a fetus that developed outside the uterus and did not survive the first trimester is recognized by the mother's immune system as a foreign body. To avoid infection, the body calcifies the fetus, literally turning it into stone. Many cases go unnoticed for years, since they usually show no symptoms, being discovered only by chance during medical exams or surgeries. Most people were shocked to see that something so extraordinary could go unnoticed for so long, and many expressed amazement and disbelief on social media. It's truly impressive how the human body can react in surprising ways to extreme situations, and how medicine still encounters mysteries that seem straight out of fiction in the real world. A 50-year-old man ended up in the emergency room with pain and discomfort after venturing into new intimate practices and wound up with a 5-kilogram dumbbell stuck in the back. Situations like this are more common than they seem, especially among men, and are usually linked to intimate curiosity, though they can also happen by accident or even attempts to hide an object. On examination, doctors felt a hard object in the back area, and radiographs confirmed it was indeed a dumbbell. The team then prepared everything to remove it safely. With the patient sedated and well lubricated, he was positioned in a way that facilitated extraction, while an assistant applied gentle pressure to help move the dumbbell. With plenty of care and patience, the object was finally removed. After removal, doctors checked and saw that everything was fine. The man stayed a few hours under observation, ate, managed to go to the bathroom, and soon was able to go home. What a story, huh? Did you know not all radiographs are still? Dynamic radiography is the exact opposite. It records moving images, allowing doctors to see organs or body structures functioning in real time. Different from conventional radiography, which takes a static picture, the dynamic version captures sequences of images, almost like a movie, revealing how tissues move or how fluids circulate through the body. One of the most common uses is in studying the digestive system, for example, to examine the esophagus, the stomach, or the intestines. Doctors can follow each step of the food, observe reflux, obstructions, or changes. It's also useful in exams of joints, lungs, or the spine when you want to evaluate movement or possible instabilities. The procedure is relatively quick and safe with minimal exposure to radiation. The big advantage of dynamic radiography is the possibility of functional diagnosis, not just structural, allowing problems that wouldn't appear in a static image to be detected. In short, dynamic radiography works like a real-time camera inside the body, showing the movement of organs, fluids, and joints, and giving doctors essential information that conventional images couldn't provide. A 51-year-old man ended up in the emergency room with a very unusual problem. He had inserted a whole Allen key into the urethra and couldn't remove it by himself. He complained of pain when urinating, bleeding, and a lot of discomfort. After 2 days trying to fix it on his own, he decided to seek medical help. On examination, doctors could feel the object and the radiograph confirmed it. An Allen key 9 centimeters long was lodged exactly where he said. The first removal attempt with endoscopy didn't work due to lack of space, so a small surgery was needed to take it out. A catheter was placed to ensure everything functioned normally. The man received antibiotics and was discharged 2 days later. A few weeks later, he returned because the area had healed irregularly, making it difficult for urine to pass, and he needed a simple reconstruction to correct it. Cases like this are usually related to intimate acts such as curiosity or gratification, but they can also be linked to mental disorders or drug use. The most important thing is to seek medical help quickly, because the longer you wait, the higher the risk of infection or more serious injuries. If you think X-rays were only for doctors, get ready for a surprise. In the days of the Soviet Union, listening to music outside government control was almost an act of rebellion. With records and tapes in short supply, a creative solution emerged: X-rays. That's right, old radiographs were turned into bootleg records. People etched tracks of banned songs onto the films and made them spin at 45 revolutions per minute, creating sound from tiny grooves. These recordings were known as bone records. Artists like Elvis Presley and Charlie Parker reached people's ears through these radiographs, often copied in improvised recording booths at night when no one was watching. It was an alternative culture that grew as more people learned to create their own discs and recording machines. In the 1960s, the rise of reel-to-reel tapes made things easier, and the X-ray market ended up dying out. But even with more modern technology, there's something poetic in this mix of body and music. A radiograph of the human body carrying the soul of forbidden music straight to those who dared to listen. A true example of creativity and resistance in times of censorship. Don't forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.